The game is so important to us, and we know people can't go on the field, they can't interact with their coaches the way they're used to it, but they can still take a ball and they can still go in the backyard and they can still work to get better. And our whole initiative was to keep kids playing.
Welcome everybody to episode 8 of the Jimmy and Kyle Show. As always, the most well-dressed man that no one has ever said that, Jimmy McAllister.
I don't know about well-dressed, but 8 episodes, who would have thunk it, and we'd be a little remiss if we didn't talk about some of our sponsors and partners, and I'm really excited for today's show. Redap with Rick Cantu, Leonie and Vaughn with Greg and Paula, First Security Bank that's really worked well with us. Adidas, Jeff McAllister and Joe Neeson. Today, we have somebody from our partner, soccer.com. So it's going to be a real fun show today, Kyle.
Yeah, today we've got Chuck Ervin, Vice President of soccer.com with us. How's it going, Chuck?
How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me. Very much. Appreciate it.
Good. Coming all the way from North Carolina.
Yes, sir. Getting prepared for the polar vortex on the East Coast.
Yeah, I'm really happy. He's got a Seattle United stocking cap, and it's 80 degrees here. So I don't feel bad for him because usually that's vice versa. It's usually cold here and warm there, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about our partnership with soccer.com, and Chuck's going to fill us in on some initiatives that they're going through. But first, Chuck, I want to get a sense of what soccer.com's backstory is. When did it start? And how things have progressed throughout the years and decades.
Cool. I appreciate you asking. I mean, I've been with the organization since 2001, so coming up on 20 years here. And I would just say the culture of our business is everything soccer. So I think if you were to walk around our halls, you would get the sense that the sport drives everything we do. The backstory is pretty cool. The owner of our business, Mike Moylan, and his brother Brendan started the business. Mike was in high school, and he had a high school project, and he wrote a paper on a soccer catalog. And his parents said, "That's a pretty cool idea. Let's try it." And out of their garage, they mailed the first catalog in 1984, Eurosport. Some of us old enough to remember Eurosport. That was our name until early 2000. Where we changed our name to soccer.com, and we've been soccer.com since then. Our customers recognize us more that way today than the heritage of Eurosport, but certainly been an awesome journey, and the two brothers are still super engaged in the game at every level today.
So you might say it started
Kyle,
off Microsoft.
I was noticing Chuck's hat, and he flew all the way from North Carolina with a few of their guys to come to our auction. And I just wanted to say I really, really appreciated that. Dave Mallett and Jared Shy was there, and you guys really stepped up big time flying across the country to support youth soccer in Seattle, and I really appreciation that. So go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
It was an awesome trip, and the last one I've taken since we actually haven't traveled. So that was the last true I took, so it's true to my heart for sure.
Chuck, remind me if I'm wrong, but didn't you guys have trouble getting back to North Carolina that night?
I think that we were split in flights, and Dave Malik was on a different flight, and his flight got stuck along the way. I got home, but I think it took them a little while to get back.
Yeah. So let's talk about an initiative you guys have called Stay in the Game, and we've got a clip here of what that is.
You can't keep us from soccer, so join our game. Use hashtag #KeepTheBallMoving. Show us how you stay in the game.
So Chuck, tell us about the Stay in the Game initiative.
I mean, as a business, the game is so important to us. And we know people can't go on the field. They can't interact with their coaches the way they're used to it, but they can still take a ball and they can still go in the backyard and they can still work to get better. And our whole initiative was to keep kids playing. And you'll see that really in a number of the things that we're doing. But the first campaign we launched when the virus hit was the Stay in the Game campaign, and quickly after it, the Keep the Ball Moving. And really, we've just spoke to our audience and our customers and our partners and our friends and said, let's keep the love of the game at the forefront. We'll get back on the field one day.
Yeah. I think everybody is just trying to come up with ideas, and obviously you guys were at the forefront of that. And we, our kids did a toilet paper challenge where they were juggling the ball, something similar. And so trying to keep kids engaged is right now the most important thing. And I know that, I'm sure you guys, just like us, are trying to come up with new ways to service your customers, your partners and whatnot, and try to get through this time. What else have you guys done with regards to the coronavirus response at the company?
I think, quickly we recognized it was going to look different. Yeah. And so, really what we started doing instantly was contacting the people we knew in the industry and just started asking them how we could help and what they were seeing. And, we've done 2 webinars, about to do a third. The first one was about, how this is impacting the game. And it was literally 2 weeks into it. So I think everybody at that point was just trying to figure out what tomorrow brought. About a week ago, we did another one, and it was more about, what it looks like to get back on the field. Jimmy was a part of that. We've picked, directors around the country that have run organizations of all sizes and in all areas of the country, and, asked them to share, what they're doing and what it looks like. We've also pushed out a survey to about 10,000 parents to say, what do you think about the situation? And, some positive news there. 80% of the kids were training at home, which to us was awesome. They're still, passionate about playing. About 30% were staying engaged with their coach, and about half were staying engaged with their teammates. So really cool stuff. And 93% of the parents thought their kids would be back on the field by September. And certainly by the country a little bit sooner in some areas and a little bit later than other areas. So for us, that's just an awesome sign that the game, is ready to come back to life when we're ready to do that.
Yeah, that's great.
Chuck, I was going to say, Kyle, I wanted to add that, when you're in a crisis like this, nobody's really prepared and nobody's really gone through anything like this. So it's really important that you talk to people who you deem are intelligent or in the business. I was lucky enough to have a conversation with Rick Cantu of Redapt about what he felt businesses were doing, and he's a community leader. The soccer webinars that you guys are doing are really big. I was on a panel. I think we had somebody from Chicago, somebody from maybe Florida, and a executive director from Colorado. It only helps us to find out what other people are doing. I don't know how many original ideas there are out there, but you guys have taken a lead in the soccer community nationally. I mean, I think we've done a good job locally. But when you look at the national model, being more than just a soccer vendor, you guys have taken a real leadership position. And some of the things that I listened to and heard on the webinar were really germane to our business. And I really, really appreciate you guys taking that leadership position.
I mean, just like everything we do, the game is so important. We just want them to get back out there. And the quicker we can do that, the better it is for all of us, players, coaches, kids, fans, parents. And so, we take that as part of our responsibility. So I appreciate your kind words.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and Chuck, we were talking earlier, and you were mentioning that you guys are starting to make hygiene kits, basically for parents that want them and can purchase them on your website. Tell us about the hygiene kits, what's in them, all that good stuff.
So really, it's part of a bigger program we're calling Match Ready. And so, what we've done is spoken to a lot of our customers and said, what's it going to take to play? And it varies market to market. And so I will start by saying I never thought I knew every governor's name in the country and every mayor in every major city in the country.
More cared.
But, we've really paid attention to every state. and when parks and recs are going to open up and when fields are going to open up. And obviously, when groups can become bigger than 10. And so we really, we feel we're, have a pretty good pulse on the country and what's going to happen and when it's going to happen, as best as you can. And so we built out what we believe will allow the kids to get back on the field and the organizations to get back to normal as quickly as possible. Part of it's working with our vendors and making sure that the inventory that we need is there and how quickly we can bring it in. Part of it is talking to organizations about safety. Face masks have come up. Each child having their own soccer ball has come up. Obviously, hygiene kits, coach and players. We think that'll be part of our assortment where, the player can have some hand soap and some disinfectant wipes and maybe some gloves that they can use, non-latex. The coach can have a bigger allotment of that and maybe a field thermometer, and just make it available for a safe environment. The other thing that's come up is scrimmage vests that, the coach throws the bag on the field and says, do it. I just don't think that's going to be part of our experience. We've heard things from reversible shirts the kids buy to headbands that the kids buy, your headbands versus non-headbands so that, easily can keep the flow of the game going. And so I think hygiene will be part of it, for sure. And safety, the ability to pay will be part of it. We feel pretty confident by early June we'll have an option where children can buy their uniforms and spread that payment out over 6 months, which we know is something that's going to be important, for us.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
And certainly the supply chain is something we're all concerned about, the ability to hire and the ability to get product in and out. And, we anticipate it to be a little more challenged than in the past. We're trying to lay that out and trying to work with our partners and their registration systems to understand when players are coming back and when the field of play will start. In Washington, it's changed once or twice, but even all around the country, it's changing. And we just want to make sure when it changes, we're ready to go for you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I apologize.
The payment plan would be huge because obviously all across the country, people are out of business, out of work, unemployed. Obviously, we've seen the unemployment rate. We've got a maintenance fee we're charging until we get up and playing. And I think that being able to spread their uniform payment out would be huge, Chuck. I think that would help a lot of folks out. Really would.
Yeah, because at the beginning of the year, they're obviously paying the program fee, but even if they're on a payment plan, you're still having to pay uniforms up front normally, pay team fees up front and whatnot. So the more kind of payment plan stuff that we have to offer, the better. I mean, I know my child is about to start in the program and uniform costs, looking at it saying, I'd rather pay that fee over 6 months than I would straight up front out of the bank account. So yeah, I know for me as a parent, that's a big thing. So appreciate that.
And that'll be part of the journey. Yeah, that'll be part of the journey. We're expecting it sometime early June. And the other thing we're doing is we're updating our webpage. Last year's over 60% of our orders were placed on a mobile phone, which was crazy for uniforms. And our site was not built to take the traffic that way. And so you'll see a new face on our order process built for mobile, and we just anticipate that mobile piece to grow this year. So just another piece that just make the customer's journey through our process easier.
Yeah, I think about how
the other thing that I think is
mobile is huge.
The other thing that's kind of interesting, Chuck, is that you put on local salespeople in the Washington area. Dave Malik's been our sales rep for years, and we've got a great relationship. He's done a great job, but now we've got a couple guys working the Washington area for soccer.com. That's new for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, you were the first market we did it in. Jared and Jeff, you guys know well, have joined our team, and really, they're in your neck of the woods. We've also done the same thing in a few other markets around the country. We were local in New York. We're local in the Connecticut, Boston area. We have some people in Florida, and we'll probably do a few more of those this year. And I think the best way for us to be part of the game is to be where it's played. So it's been an interesting shift in our business model, but one that we look forward to growing. And Jeff and Jared are terrific.
Yeah, well, you are a local company from Mercer Island, Washington. That's where it started, right, Kyle?
The two brothers started their life.
They lived there for a while.
So they were Mercer Island kids and moved back to the East Coast to start the company in North Carolina, but they were definitely Mercer Island kids.
But they thought of it in Mercer Island.
They did. The idea was hatched in Mercer Island.
Correct. All good ideas come from Washington, you know.
Well, I'll tell you, I remember when I was a kid back in the early 90s, and when I say kid, I wasn't a kid necessarily, I was a teenager, but we used to get the Eurosport catalog at our house. And I remember every time it came in the mail, I'd have to steal it from my dad. My brothers and I would be looking at it and circling what we wanted and thinking about all the different things, cleats, warm-ups, all that kind of stuff. When Nike came out in 94, the Predator came out in 94. Predators were a hot commodity back then. And we loved getting those magazines. My dad still gets them today and
awesome.
flips through them. So, yeah, it's definitely part of my growing up.
And so Chuck, I might add, he said that he came in the Predators when he was a kid. When I came in, they were the King Pele or the Gerd Mueller. So
and Jimmy, we got to take a step back for a second, Jimmy. You said that no one's ever been through a pandemic like this before. I believe you were alive when the Spanish flu pandemic hit in 1918.
I could have been, but I can't remember it that well.
Yeah. You were a baby. You were a baby.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe I was. Yeah. The old joke, Chuck. They just keep coming. Yeah.
That's why I'm wearing a hat, Jimmy. They don't need to see my head. I look younger with a hat on.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, great, Jimmy. Anything else we want to ask Chuck before we let him go?
Again, I just think that we're in this thing together. We're lucky to be with soccer.com. You guys have been very, very good to us, and keep the forums coming, the webinars. They're huge for people to listen to. I know of at least 10 people called me after the webinar from Washington that were listening in. They take these things back and they can institute it for their own club. I know in the old days we used to joke about the clubs being run out of somebody's trunk of a car. This is a big business now, and we need leaders in this industry, and you guys have done that, and we really appreciate it.
I appreciate your kind words, and you guys keep those kids playing. Keep them engaged in the game, and I can't wait to get them back on the field with you. I think we're all waiting for that moment and waiting to celebrate that moment. So let us know how we can help that come together for you.
Fantastic. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Chuck. Thanks to soccer.com for all their support. And we'll look to get back out on the field as soon as we can.
Thanks, Kyle.
Everybody.
Good speaking with you. Good seeing you, Jimmy.
See you guys.
All right.
Good day.
Bye.
And to all the mothers out there, wishing you a happy Mother's Day. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. And we really appreciate everything that you do for us, for Jimmy and I, and for all the kids out there. Happy Mother's Day.
I've been told there's nothing like a mother's love. No matter what you do, your mom will always love you. And I swear to God, my mom was great at that. She loved me through thick and thin. So happy Mother's Day, everybody out there. Thanks for all you do.
All right, guys. See you next week.